I've had so many questions in my DMs of people asking me, how much did you save each month to reach 100K saved and invested? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through how much I saved each month from the age of 21 to 31 and my salary during that period as well. Okay, so let's start. So when I was 21, I was still at uni. Yeah, I'm a pharmacist, and when you study to be a pharmacist, you go to university for 4 years. So at 21, I was still at uni. However, I did have two part-time jobs as a librarian and as a student ambassador, and I estimate I was earning about 300, £400 a month. It wasn't a lot, but from that, I was saving £100 a month. And that is how I formed the habit of saving. I always say that it's not necessarily about the amount that you save, but it's about forming the habit and, getting used to it. Then at 22, I graduated and then I started training as like a trainee pharmacist. And as a trainee pharmacist back then in 2015, my annual salary was 18,500. I'm pretty sure that's like below minimum wage, but
Now,
what can I say? Those were different times. I also want to say, as a caveat, before I continue, yes, I was saving, but a lot of the money that I was saving, I was investing that. I have a very high risk appetite. So I was investing at least 80%
hmm,
of these amounts that you see, apart from when I became a business owner, it's a bit more complicated than that. But
ah, this is just look. Daisy Ashley, congratulations. This is just super fire. There's so much I gotta get to the rest of the video, but this is super powerful because what this does is this showcases the trajectory of most people and their wealth creation. Most people's wealth creation starts with you're not making much money and you're figuring money out. You start making some money and you start finding out what money's about. And then you start making money the way you want to make money and you become the leader of what's going on. And hearing just that short tidbit of going from a position where you're not making much, literally having these side jobs whilst you're actually a student and saving £100 each time and then working your way up is absolutely amazing. I want to actually break down some of these numbers as well. So I'll probably do that in a longer video, but let me know, guys, is it possible for you to save 100,000 over a period of 10 or 11 years, just like Ashley Daisy has done? I'm interested in knowing your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, because a lot of people, I believe, don't think they can do it. I think a lot of people think that, no, that's just for pharmacists or that's just for teachers, all right? And I purposely put the teacher in because I was a teacher. I worked as a secondary and A-level math teacher. And a lot of people assume that when you work certain kind of industries, you can't generate certain kinds of revenue. But the interesting thing is it's very simple to generate these kinds of revenue when you do the math. So maybe later on in this video, we'll actually do the maths and break it all down so we can see exactly how this kind of wealth can come around. But let's get back to the video. Let's see what else she's going to share on this, because I think this is super phenomenal.
until the age of 30, and then obviously you have the power of compound interest, which amplifies how much I was saving and grows it a lot more than just saving it as cash in a savings account. Anyway, when I was 22, I was saving £600 a month. I want you to bear in mind that I was living at home, and also I had it in my head that I needed to save 10K because that was how much I needed towards my deposit, well, part of my deposit to the flat that I currently live in right now. So I was saving very aggressively. Also, I lived at home, and also the money that I saved while I was at uni at 21, I used that to buy a 1-year travel card so that I would not have to pay for travel. And then also on the weekend, I worked as an English, maths, and science tutor. I think I was making roughly about £100 or £200 a weekend or something.
I think there's a few keys that are being sprinkled here, which if you're not taken away, you might be missing the real opportunity. So one of them is she continually hustled outside of her primary hustle. So working, doing the tuition, that's an extra income. Deciding to save aggressively, that is a different decision. Deciding to stay at home for what might be, in some people's mind, a prolonged period of time, extra income, right? These are just decisions being made that throughout the process all accumulate, and they are the compound interest more than the money for many of us. So yeah, this is super powerful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the numbers. I'm a numbers guy.
Think like that. So altogether, I was saving about £600 a month. Oh, I know a minimum. When I was 23, I qualified as a pharmacist. Got
Congrats.
my first job as a pharmacy manager. I was earning 35k and I was still living at home. So I was literally saving all my money. I think after tax, I think that was like just over £2,000 or something like that. So I saved half and I spent half because a lot of my money then went on travel because I worked somewhere really far. Okay.
So here's again some real powerful keys here. 50% of her income was being saved. 50%, all right, or invested based on what she said actually earlier. This isn't about saving, even though the question she's been getting is about saving. This is about investing. So she's got 50% of her disposable income after tax that she's using to save or invest. Let's use the word invest because that's actually what's going on. The second thing that's super crucial here, she mentioned this before. She said she paid for a 1-year travel card. And this is one of the big principles I've seen that wealthy people have an understanding of, and most of society do not have an understanding of. And what that is that we will invest up front for things we know we need down the line, right? A wealthy person says, hold on a minute, I'm going to pay for a 1-year travel card. And it's interesting talking about wealth and talking about a travel card, but I'm going to pay for a 1-year travel card now because I know I'm going to use it throughout the whole period. Whereas most people would say to themselves, oh no, but what if I lose my job? Oh no, but what if? The what ifs will stop someone from doing the right thing now because of what's going to take place in the future. But one of the keys, if you're someone who's wealthy, she shared here that she's aggressive in her investment risk appetite. But the reality is you have to be in order to create a realistic amount of wealth to be able to take care of yourself. So just think of it. And this is not me saying go out there and do reckless things. No, this is me saying have an appetite to do what's right so you can make enough revenue so you can start to see the light. All right, let's jump back into this and see what else is going to be said.
Then at the age of 24, I had pretty much finished saving for my deposit. And I was like, great, I need to quit my job because the 35k I was earning, it was not enough. Like the salary wasn't big enough for the house that I wanted. And when I spoke to the mortgage broker, he was like, you should be looking at a 50k salary. So I'm like, time to hand in my notice. So I got a new job as a pharmacy manager and I was earning about 47.5k. And I was saving really aggressively so that when I was gonna exchange and pay the deposit, I could pay it, I could pay for furniture, just like I just needed to have loads of cash. Obviously that time I was still living at home, so then I was able to save even more. When I was living at home, I did contribute like rent to my family, so I wasn't living at home for free, but I did keep my expenses really low. And then at 25, that's when I paid the deposit and all of that good stuff. And you can see that my savings went right down.
You see, she's talking about her savings going right down, but I'm sure her investments didn't necessarily go down. So this is powerful. There's a few tidbits here which are super valuable. One of them is she's not allowing her circumstance to dictate her strategy. So she shared something very powerful here, which I think most people miss. That is when she spoke to a mortgage broker and the broker told her she needs a £50,000 income, she said goodbye to her current job. She didn't say, oh no, but I've been here for 8 years. Oh no, but I've been here for 2 years. Oh no, but these are my close friends. She said, okay, my goals require me to level up, so I'm going to level up. And she allowed that to level her up to a degree. She didn't hit the 50,000 salary from what we can see. She went to a 47,500 pound salary, a 47.5k salary, but she leveled up in the trajectory of her goals, not in the trajectory of her circumstance and situation, which is a key crucial lesson for everyone who desires to develop in terms of their wealth. Now she's talking about her savings cutting down from 1,500 to 800 as though that's a drastic thing. Let's see if I can get into it. In a moment, I'll go through the maths and I'll show you. I actually do it right now because I think this is going to be super valuable, right? So a lot of people think saving up £100,000 is a mammoth of a task. And yes, it is a big task if you've never done it before. But here's the thing that's interesting about this process, right? £100,000, how do you eat an elephant? Everybody knows, one bite at a time, right? Is simply £10,000 multiplied by 10. And we're being shown here a journey of 11 years. So that's very close to 10. I'm even using less years to show this maths. Now, what's interesting is £10,000 being saved in a year is only savings of £833.33 per month. So if you are able to consistently save £833.33 per month, at the end of each year, you will have £10,000. And if at the end of each year you have £10,000 for 10 years, a year earlier, then Ashley, Daisy, you will have the same £100,000 in savings if you're in the savings game. I'm not in the savings game. As I often say to my closest friends, if you use school tactics, you will not be able to achieve non-school outcomes. Financial freedom is a non-school outcome. And as you can see through what's been shared already, she was not using school tactics. She was shifting the playing field when she saw her goals required it. She was investing from the beginning, which is what most people don't do. They just focus on savings, right? So this is super crucial. I hope you're seeing this. I hope you're seeing how this is valuable. Let's jump in deeper into what else she's going to share.
To £800, because I think the first 1 to 2 years of living by myself, paying all my bills, I'm surprised I didn't go mad. That stuff rocked me. And I didn't even have like a roommate at the time, right? So I was paying all the bills, right? It was quite expensive and it was quite a shock, very shocking about how much everything cost. So at 25, I was saving about £800. And then from the age of like 25 to like 26, 27, 28, 29, I was still in the same job, working for the same company, but always asking, every year I would ask for a pay rise. So I'm a very money orientated, money focused person. And I used to work in community pharmacy. And in community pharmacy, all they really cared was about the bottom line and making a profit. Now, if you know me, I'm a business person. I'm a businesswoman. So I knew that if I turned a profit in the shop, I could ask for more money. So everywhere that I worked, always turned a profit, always did well financially. And that gave me a lot of leverage to ask for a pay rise, probably nearly every year, pretty much every year. So you can see all the way up until 30. And then you can see that slowly I increased how much I saved by £100, £100, £100. And I had like a really massive sort of pay rise at 30. I literally worked in the same company from the age of 24 to the age of 30.
Let's go. Listen, this is super valuable. There's a lot more in the video. I don't want this video to be too long. So link to the creator inside of the description, as I always do. I want you to go check out this video for yourself. I want you to think about it for yourself. I want you to think to yourself, are you putting yourself in a better situation every single year? Do you have a wealth strategy? Have you architected the journey of your wealth trajectory? Or are you just someone who's going to let what's happening happen to me? All right, because what's being broken down in this video is super valuable. There are so many principles, so many values that you can take away and apply to your life today, specifically as it pertains to finances, wealth, and your wealth creation. This is Sammy ICanWin. I'm signing out. As I often say, small keys open up big doors. Why don't you hit that like? Feel free to comment below and also hit the subscribe so you can be a part of the tribe. I'm looking forward to seeing what your thoughts are on this in the comments. Good day. God bless. See you on the next one. Let's go.
Small keys open big doors.